I would like to say a huge thank you to Ms. Sam Hewitt for joining me today. This is a Broker's Playbook exclusive. We have a huge guest here. Sam Hewitt is one that I know for some years. Welcome, Sam, to Broker's Playbook.
Thanks, Simos. Thanks for having me so much. I appreciate it.
Cheers. Broker's Playbook, Sam, is our latest industry podcast and webcast. And it's basically 100% industry. We do have a lot of investors. We do have a lot of clients that watch it because we do have a pretty big following on social. And they can take what they can from it and apply it to their own lives. But this was built by industry, and it's for industry. So the goal here today is to make somebody's day easier. And for you, and why you're such a natural fit for this today is because this is what you do for a living. Please tell me a little bit about, introduce yourself to our audience, which is literally thousands of brokers, mortgage brokers, real estate brokers, and salespeople. Tell us who you are.
Thanks for having me, Simos. It's my pleasure to work with you and Jazz and Bobby and your whole team every day. I'm Sam Hewitt. I'm in charge of agent development at Royal LePage Signature. So we're one of the largest brokerages across the country. And my mandate really is to just help realtors do more business, help them achieve their goals, help them find success. I'm in charge of the development of our training programs and of our marketing plans, and a lot of our sort of strategic vision about what we know is working across the board is what I try to take and teach to all of our sales team in all of our locations. So it's a fun job. I really like it. I have a real passion for it, for helping people, and yeah, it's a good gig.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. You were one of the best agents that were practicing real estate when you did. I met you over 10 years ago. When you were one of the most senior brokers at the office, and you and your partner would just kill real estate, and you inspired me when you were a broker, and you continue to inspire me personally in your role today. Not to say not for nothing, but you're inspiring because you're there every day, you're approachable, and you truly make a difference to a lot of people's lives. So I'm not saying it to put you on the spot. I really am not. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. What I want, the value that I want you to create today, is going to be to the new agent, not to the intermediate, not to the senior, to the new agent. Let's say they just joined your brokerage, or they joined any brokerage for that matter. That's not what this is about. Is what question, where should their mindset, what questions should they be asking the chief development officer of the company, the agent development person at whatever brokerage they are? If they don't have one, maybe they shouldn't be there. But if they do have one, and many do, there's many great brokerages in Canada, yours being one of them, ours being one of them. What should they be asking you?
Yeah, so I think the first question you have to ask is, what does the training program look like for a new agent? And not just training like, oh, you come to the office meeting and you listen to, what the market's doing. Real training, like, where do I start? How do I get going? The number one question that a new agent should ask the development manager is, where do I start and how do I get going? How do I get some quick wins? How do I develop some leads quickly so I can start making use of my new license I just got? And to your point, there's all kinds of different brokerage models across the city and across the country. You've got to find the one that works for you, that fits for who you are and what your goals are. But having a real robust agent training program is going to be the foundation to getting you started, because that's really what everything stems from. And I think as a new agent, it gets overwhelming a little bit because there's so many things. You've got to set your website up. You've got to get business cards. You've got to, what do you do on social and how do you leverage that? I mean, there's a million things that start from this new business they've created. And so I think really just understanding from their development manager, where do I start? How do I get going? What do I do?
Okay, so now I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm a new agent. What do I do?
What do you do? So the very first thing you do is you've got to gather every single person you know by first name, and you've got to get them into a system, some kind of client relationship manager where you can track where they live and their kids' names and their birthday, and you can start leveraging the relationships you have with people. I mean, I always tell new agents, like, you're new to this business, but you're not new to life. Like, you did something before this, and what did that look like? And who did you spend your time with? And what were you known for in that previous world? And how can you bring that over to this life now and leverage some of those contacts and those relationships to, start your new business? Because I think as new agents, you're always like, I don't know anything, but you do. You just need to learn the business itself. But you got to start with your people. You got to get them into a database. You got to start marketing yourself to them as a realtor. So you guys at REC do a fabulous job at being visible and about posting great content and sharing market stats and, hosting events and being the resource. As a new agent, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to position yourself in a light where they see you as the resource to real estate.
So I'm gonna contribute to that. And I'm also gonna give a little backhand, because if I had $1 for every new agent that came on my team and said, give me some leads. So the brokers playbook is it's actually not a PG show.
Oh, it's not. Oh,
not at all. So the fuck with you, new agent, for having the audacity to ask for leads, because you haven't even called your personal contacts. Like, I'm going to give you my contacts if you haven't had the balls to still contact the people who know you and tell them you're in real estate.
Yes.
So
yeah. So in our new agent training program, the very first thing that you have to do is you have to take the introduction letter that talks about you and who you are and the fact that you're new to our brokerage, and you have to email it out to every single person you know, and you've got to make 35 phone calls in the first week. And if you come into week 2 and you don't do it, I mean, Bobby said to me, like, how do you help people get better? Well, you hold them accountable. Yeah. And you say, like, you're not reinventing the wheel. Get on the phone and make the calls. That's, like, if we could summarize the whole business.
No. So like, I'll tell you right now, like, on my team, any new agent, if you're going to be getting leads, you will be getting leads, but you're getting them on leases. If I don't see you do 30, 40, 50 leases, which means you've interacted with 30, 40, 50 people, you made 30, 40, 50 people happy, and they were happy with your service and happy with everything, you're not going anywhere quickly on the REC. Now, obviously, they need to get the word out. They need to understand. What would you say would be the most important thing they need, above and beyond the CRM, which is by far the most important? Organize who you know and call them and let them know what you're doing. Got it. Yep. Number 1. What would you say is number 2?
Education and learning. You definitely have to know. You have to understand the market. You've got to be able to communicate effectively what's happening out there right now. You have to know how to deliver an awesome listing presentation. You have to know how to deliver an awesome buyer presentation. You have to know how to handle objections. Learning is the foundation to doing better. You want to change your worth, you change your words. You know what to say. You know how to say it. You role play with a partner. You listen to Simeon and Jazz talk on the phone, and you internalize that language. Learning is always number 2. Being able to communicate effectively is the second biggest one. I think the third biggest one, of course, is prospecting. I mean, it's the dirty P word in our business. But really, I mean, I could, to your point, Simeon, like, I could hand someone a lead and they could do a fabulous job. But if they can't get leads, they're not going to make it in this business. And, we forget sometimes it's a sales sport. And, if you want to be successful, you've got to dedicate time every single day to trying to find new leads. And if you don't do that, if that isn't your focus all the time, you're going to struggle. You really will.
Once again, I'll contribute. New leads. That's an easy term. We make it a little bit harder in my camp. We don't call a prospect a lead a lead. We call everyone a relationship.
A relationship.
And the reason I do that, it's because I don't want them to get away with the easy way out, that the lead was no good, that the prospect was no good. So they are a prospect. They are a lead. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A lead is a lead into something. Mm-hmm. The reason I use relationship is because everything that we do. So if me and you today were not to come to terms with something, if we both don't walk away holding ourselves accountable, meaning it's my fault this didn't work, and you do the same, the next day we're not going to come to a resolution. Mm-mm. So if I go away saying it's Sam's fault, we will never work together. I have to walk away from everything saying it's my fault. I'm accountable for the result. I'm accountable for the outcome. if I do that, by the time I get home on the drive home, whether it's 5 minutes or an hour, by the time you get home, when you hold yourself accountable, you measure and you figure out what you can do to go back the next day, to make it work, to find a solution.
To get better.
So if number 3 is prospecting, number 3 really means relationship building. Correct. So I don't give a shit if you're at Starbucks, if you like to play pool, if you're taking your kids swimming. Every living moment of our day as realtors, as salespeople, as brokers, the number one thing we do is build relationships.
Correct.
Build relationships.
Correct. If I can add.
Please.
I think when I'm you asked me at the beginning, Simeon, to break down the, new intermediate experienced agent. If I'm an experienced or an intermediate agent, building relationships and talking to people at my kids swimming should be, the number one thing that I'm doing to increase the number of relationships that I have that I can add to my CRM. If I'm a new person, where I see sometimes it be a challenge, as they say to me, well, I went to Starbucks and I talked to 3 new people, and so I prospected today. And so I think it's such a fine line, right? We have to be aware of building relationships and what that looks like. But if I'm literally brand new and I don't have to show buyers because I don't have any, and I don't have listings, so I don't have to manage those, and I don't, I'm trying to get open houses to get busy, I've got a lot of time in my day. And so I really subscribe to a philosophy that you've got to try to find new business and really kind of prospect for a focused, dedicated amount of time. And if that's 60 minutes or 90 minutes or 2 hours a day, that should be, as a new person, your secret sauce to get moving. Yes, when you're at Starbucks and when you're at kids swimming and when you're out at the grocery store and you're, wearing a little RLP logo shirt and they say, oh, you're in real estate. Yes, that has to be your focus. But I've seen new people come in and they say, well, I talked to somebody yesterday, and I'm like, okay, but then what happened? Where did they go? What did you do? What did they like? I think we have to, if you're new and you're committed and you want to get rolling, you focus and put your head down a couple hours every day to trying to find new leads in whatever ways you're going to generate new leads.
Love it. The playbook is, I just want you to know the playbook's coming together. So I simply asked a question, and I'm going to do a recap because this is going to be a nice little 30-second content piece. Okay?
Okay.
Sam Hewitt, what are the top 3 things an agent should be doing the minute they start real estate? Number 1,
getting
CRM.
Go.
Number 2, knowledge and learning. Number 3, hit me. Prospecting and building relationships. Thank you. This was the best clip a new agent can watch anywhere in Canada, anywhere in North America, and save themselves 12 months of banging their heads against the wall. So now they have the playbook. All they have to do is do it.
All they have to do is execute. The magic in life isn't the idea, it's the execution of the idea.
Okay, let's go to the intermediate agent. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Number 1 question an intermediate agent asks me personally, and I want you to share your own experience, is what can I do to differentiate myself in a market with 50,000 agents?
So easy.
Hit me.
Relationships. If you're an intermediate agent and you're already starting warm, you already have a list of people that know you, that like you, that trust you, you've got past clients. You want to differentiate yourself, you double down on relationship building. You know their cat's name and when their cat's birthday is, and you call them and you say, happy birthday, Fluffy. And maybe you put a little gift card in the mail with a little cat on the card. You double down. I mean, when was the last time someone called you and just said, hey, how are you? How are you, Simeon?
I'm really well. I'm really well, Sam. How are you?
I'm good. And you know what? Every time I call you, Simeon, and we have that conversation, you're like, so what's up? And I'm like, just calling to say hi. And you're like, oh, hi, how are you? What's happening? I miss you. What's going on? It's not complicated. It's not a hard thing to do, but it's hard to be consistent because real estate is so reactive and it's so our day starts off one way and ends up another way, and it's not what we thought it was going to look like. And so we have good intentions, but sometimes it kind of pans out differently, right? And so if you're an intermediate agent and you want to differentiate yourself, you double down on the people you know.
I absolutely love it. What would you tell an intermediate agent when they ask you, I'm in a situation, I was in over my head. Do I fake it till I make it? Or do I tell the truth and come back with the answer? What is your advice to that?
To tell the truth and come back with the answer.
Why?
I think you only get one chance to show that you have integrity. And once you show you don't have integrity, you can't kind of go back and say, oh, no, I really do. I believe in honesty above all else. I think in this business, your reputation is everything. And your name follows you around. And as much as we live in a big city, people are connected to other people, and social exists, and bad Google reviews are out there. And
the city is much smaller than people think.
It's much smaller than people think. And the real estate community is much smaller than you think. And, I believe you trade on the value of, who you are as an individual and a service provider. And I believe in honesty above all else.
So it was a rhetorical question to you only because I know you for so long. And I personally agree wholeheartedly to the very core and depth of my heart. Anybody, and I'm not judging anyone. Anybody can make their own decisions. I'm not judging anyone at all. But I can assure you that if you faked it and made it in my books and I found out about it later, you faked it, you made it, and you fucked up because now we're done.
Yeah.
Because you lied. Because if you lied to me once, I know as a fact that you're going to lie to me again. And I cannot trust my business or my relationships in a liar's hands. So
Correct.
That is my personal take on fake it till you make it. I know TV glorifies it. I know there's even a sales book written on it. Anybody can do whatever they want. I'm speaking only from my personal experience and my professional practice. I do not enable it. I do not advise of it. I don't do it. And I strongly urge anybody who I personally would ever do business with to never do that in my presence. So
I know you guys run a great operation. You run a great business. And the reason why I know that for sure is because the value of your relationships is seen in your success, and you don't build those relationships on lies. And I know for sure that's a big part of who you guys are and one of your core values. I think going back to when you said, what are the 3 things a new agent has to do? Number 2 is learning. And if you are doing the right kind of learning and you're really dedicating the right amount of time to it, you shouldn't have to fake it till you make it. Someone asks you, like, what's the, commercial market like in Hamilton, and you don't know, there's nothing wrong with saying, well, in Toronto, it's this. In Hamilton, I'm not sure, but I've got a great contact and blah, blah. But if you really are doing the right kind of learning, you're not going to know everything, but you're going to know more than you think, or more than you even think you feel know. And so if you're doing it right, you shouldn't have to fake it till you make it. You should know. I mean, you're dealing with people's largest asset.
Isn't knowledge, the coolest thing about knowledge is knowledge allows you to know things. It also allows you to know what you don't know. Yes. Which is in many cases so much more fucking powerful than knowing.
So much more.
If you're put on the spotlight, let's say we're at a cocktail party and there's a builder, there's a realtor, there's a client, there's an investor. Somebody asks a question and you don't know your head from your ass. Say exactly that. But what I do know, Mr. Investor, what I do know, Mr. Client, is the senior partner at that firm. I know the senior guy at that firm. And by end of day tomorrow, you're going to have an email in your inbox with exact answers and metrics that you were looking for here tonight. And he says, oh, that's too late for now. Well, God bless you and cheers, because you can't help them all. But what you didn't do is look like a big asshole when you let everyone down at that party, including the person who invited you.
Yeah.
Love it. I have some notes here for you, only because I know you're an efficiency monster.
I am a little obsessed with efficiency.
Yeah, excuse me. I'm going to
Speaking
ask
of, I
you,
have like 3.5 minutes left, by the way.
yes, you have 3.5 minutes left. So here is the last segment, and then I will thank you and give you virtual hugs and kisses. On a day-to-day, I don't care if you're a newbie, if you're an intermediate, or if you're 30 years in the business making $1 million bucks. If you don't have a to-do list, if you're not organized, you ain't doing shit today. So you're not going to get nothing done because we get interjected. So I want you to give me your top 3 things to do daily, what to practice daily to try to have control of your day.
Mm-hmm. So I think number 1 is always the proactive communication or the prospecting you're doing. That has to be the number 1 thing on your to-do list, and you have to get it done no matter what. So I try to call in the morning, but sometimes my mornings get jacked. So I end up, 2 calls here, 1 call at lunch, 2 calls driving home in the car. So I think scheduling your heavy lifting, whatever your heavy lifting is. I think most of us on Brokers Playbook are realtors, but if you're in a business where whatever your heavy lifting is something other than prospecting, you should try to do that in the morning whenever possible. That it should be the very first thing you write down. Number 2, I think you really have to time block so that you don't allow tasks to kind of just, take up 17 hours when
or to the best of your ability, right?
Best of your ability, for sure. And then number 3, on a personal side, I think you have to really on your to-do list schedule, some of your own time. If you're a driver, if you're a top producer, if you want to like go to the moon, I think a lot of us struggle with turning it off. Simos, I know you struggle with turning it off. I know Jazz struggles with turning it off.
Yes.
I struggle with turning it off. It's 10:30 at night and I'm still trying to pound out emails or get up content on social or return text messages to people. So I think from a to-do list perspective, if you're going to be a really, really high achiever and a top producer, you've got to schedule in some downtime as well, because the worst thing about being an entrepreneur is there's no end. Like there's always something to do for your business.
Yes.
So schedule your outbound, prospecting time or your communication, time block as best as you possibly can, and take time for yourself at least a little bit every day.
You're a monster. You're invaluable.
You're a monster.
I appreciate you. I love you.
I appreciate you. I love you too. Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor to be here and talk to your following.
For everyone, Sam Hewitt, Realtor Development for Royal LePage Signature, one of the biggest brokerages in the country. I want to, once again, in all seriousness, from our entire audience, thank you for being here. #Broker Life. #Brokers Playbook, #Samantha Hewitt, #success, CEO, boss babe, love, love, love. Thank you.
Love you lots.
We'll see you. Bye.
See you. Bye.
Perfect.